Hi, this is Asa, and welcome to my audio experience. So glad to have you with us today, and so glad to have a very special guest with us, Dr. Michael Greger. He's a physician. He's a fellow of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, and he's the developer of a great website that I utilize, and I'm sure many other healthcare professionals do as well, nutritionfacts.org. He's written a book called How Not to Die. I love that title. When I saw that title, I just jumped out of my seat. I love it. It's one of the best titles for a health-related nutrition book I think I've ever seen. Dr. Greger, welcome to the show.
So honored to be here.
It's always great to have you. See you at the conferences and see you online constantly putting out amazing content to be able to encourage people and teach them really what nutrition can do to the body. And as a physician, I just want to start out by asking you, what led you down this path?
You know, I was just a kid when the doctor sent my grandma home to die in a wheelchair. It was actually all due to my grandma. She was diagnosed with end-stage heart disease. She already had so many kind of bypass operations. So, you basically run out of plumbing at some point and get all scarred up inside. Confined in a wheelchair, crushing chest pain. Her doctors told her basically nothing else they can do. Her life was over age 65. But then she heard about Nathan Pritikin, this early lifestyle medicine pioneer, became one of his early success stories. She was actually even featured in Pritikin's biography. He talks about Francis Greger.
Wow.
It was kind of a live-in program. Put everyone on plant-based diet, started them on a exercise regimen. They wheeled her in. She walked out. Within a few weeks, she was walking 10 miles a day, went on to live another 31 years until age 96.
Wow.
To continue to enjoy her 6 grandkids. And her miraculous recovery not only inspired one of those grandkids to pursue a career in medicine, but gave her enough healthy years to see him graduate. So it's really all thanks to her.
Wow, what a great story. That is amazing. Love to hear that. Talking with Dr. Michael Greger. Check him out at nutritionfacts.org. He's written a book called How Not to Die. Dr. Greger, let's talk a little bit about this. So in How Not to Die, what led you to that title, and why did you pick that for the book?
Well, it's not how to
From
not
Grandma.
die, but how not to die, as in prematurely in pain after a long, chronic, disabling illness. The good news is that we have tremendous power over our health, destiny, and longevity. The vast majority of premature death and disability is preventable with a healthy enough plant-based diet and other good lifestyle behaviors. And so I just wanted to share that good news with everyone by just going through the 15 leading causes of death, 1 through 15, talk about the role diet can play in preventing, arresting, or even reversing each of our 15 killers.
Absolutely. So what would you say in your book as you put it together, and again, with sound bites always, as you're great at, what would you say are the best top 3 foods to include in your diet? If the average listener right now is just coming off fast food, they're barely just getting into this whole health concept in their own life, and they're starting the journey, what would the top 3 foods be to eat in their life, to add?
I think the top 3 that we as Americans are missing out most of are greens, beans, and berries. So greens are the healthiest vegetables, berries are the healthiest fruits, and legumes, beans, split peas, chickpeas, and lentils, are kind of the healthiest source of protein. In fact, 2016 has been deemed by the United Nations as the year of the pulses, so the year of the beans, basically. And that's good news for getting the word out about how helpful they can be.
Yeah, I agree completely. So is with that being said, and with the studies that you've done and the ones that you follow up with consistently at nutritionfacts.org, by the way, you need to check that website out. One of the best resources I have found for nutrition information that's evidence-based that really anyone can utilize immediately into their life. We're talking with Dr. Michael Greger. Dr. Greger, would you say food's our best medicine?
Well, certainly only for chronic disease. Now, for acute care, I mean, as we, broken leg, come in with with infection, cure with antibiotics, right? For that, pills and procedures, are our best bet. But about 85% of healthcare dollar in the U.S. goes to treating chronic disease. Heart disease, type 2 diabetes, hypertension. These are the diseases that, in modern medicine, we don't have a great record on treating. I mean, we can kind of slow down the disease, reduce some of the complication rates, but in terms of, because they are lifestyle diseases, the only way to really stop these diseases in their tracks, and even in some cases reverse those diseases, is to treat the cause by cleaning up our lives.
Yeah, and I agree. And so with food consistently for chronic disease, having the possibility to have that kind of impact, and with certain foods being dominant, you lean toward a plant-based diet, and pretty much that seems to be the resounding theme within the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, which I'm a part of as well. So tell me a little bit about that in your theories and your studies, and with the evidence that's out there, why plant-based seems to be the best way for longevity, because now it's growing in popularity.
Well, there's only one diet that's ever been proven to reverse heart disease in the majority of patients. This is this plant-based diet. And so, I figure, look, if that's all a plant-based diet could do, reverse our number one killer of men and women, then, shouldn't that kind of be the default diet until proven otherwise? And the fact that it can also be effective in treating, arresting, reversing other leading killers like high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes, would seem to make the case for kind of plant-based eating. And so, I encourage when people hear about new diets, I say, well, look, do me a favor, ask somebody, has this new diet been proven to reverse heart disease? Number one reason me and all my loved ones will die? If the answer is no, then why would you even consider it? The best available balance of evidence suggests the healthiest diet is one that minimizes the intake of meat, eggs, dairy, and processed junk, and maximizes the intake of fruits, vegetables, beans, whole grains, nuts and seeds, mushrooms, herbs, and spices, basically real food that grows out of the ground.
Yeah, I agree. So let's do side by side, and I know you've done this probably many times. Put the Mediterranean diet next to the plant-based diet.
Oh, well, I think the benefits that one sees in these studies, we now have randomized, controlled trials of the Mediterranean diet, and the benefits we see, I think, can be attributed to the plant-based nature of most Mediterranean diets. So when you actually look and see what factors the Mediterranean diet are most associated with health and longevity, it's not what people may typically think. They think, oh, Mediterranean diet, I just got to pour olive oil over everything, or I just got to drink wine, or I just got to, those are the kind of typical things. But actually, the best parts of the Mediterranean diet is it's packed with fruits and vegetables. It's got lots of green leafy vegetables, got lots of legumes. If anyone's traveled to the Mediterranean, you can always see beans and greens on the menu. That's really, I think, our best. There's, there's a few ways I think we could, improve the Mediterranean diet. They do eat a lot of refined grain products. I'd love to see them move over to whole grains. Some of the salt content can be a little high with the olives. But in general, that is a much healthier diet than certainly standard American diet. I think it's a great direction to go in, because you're eating more of the healthy foods and less health promoting foods.
Yeah, and like you said, it's the plant-based portion of that brings the health benefits from it, and that's what yields the great results typically with it, from what we see, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So here's it. We're talking with Dr. Michael Greger. He's a fellow of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. He is the developer and founder of nutritionfacts.org. Please visit his website, nutritionfacts.org. He's written a book, How Not to Diet. Now, here is one big question I have. Natural health care has a lot of different facets to it. What do you think the biggest myth is in natural care with all the information that's out there?
Probably the lack of an evidence base for many of the interventions that I've seen when I go speak at some of these kind of natural health care conferences. People get up and spout all sorts of kind of wacky theories, but they don't make it clear that that this may be derived from their own clinical experience, from anecdote, from there are case studies that they haven't been published, but they've found in their own practice, which is fine. I mean, that's all. But they just need to make that clear and differentiate that from the interventions that have shown, that have been, proven, that have actually been put to the test and published in the peer-reviewed medical literature as, shown to be beneficial. And so, just, it's totally. I mean, clinical experience. I mean, is critical, and people who've been in practice for decades, have a lot to bring to the table. But I encourage people, if you have a new intervention, you really got to publish it. Things don't exist unless they're in the peer-reviewed scientific literature. And that's the only way we're going to actually change health policy in this country, is that if we can show these, consensus guideline committees that, look, here is an alternative, and it's been proven to work.
I agree.
And until we have that, unfortunately, a few people may benefit from some of these innovative approaches, but the millions, is it going to be covered by insurance? Is it going to be covered by Medicare? Is it going to be accessible to millions? We need to show these interventions work. Those interventions work.
Very, very good. We're talking with Dr. Michael Greger. He is the author of How Not to Die. Also, check out his website, nutritionfacts.org. That's nutritionfacts.org. He's a fellow, the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. We're talking about ways to live healthier, talking about how nutritional interventions can make an impact in your overall health and your overall life. When we come out of this break, we'll be talking again to Dr. Greger. Got some great new questions for him to dig into his new book, How Not to Die. We'll be right back. Hi, it's Asa. I'm giving you a copy of my best-selling book for free to help you in your health journey today. I'll pay for the book. All you do is just cover the small shipping and handling costs. Go to asarx.com and get your free book today. Did you know that you can listen to the Asa RX audio experience on Spotify and Pandora? For all the ways to watch and listen, check out our show page at asarx.com/experience. Phone lines are open, 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. Give us a call. Go to the website, InShapeNetwork.com. That's InShapeNetwork.com. We're here for you each and every day. The show, Your Health is Your Greatest Wealth. We're talking with Dr. Michael Greger. He is a fellow of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, a physician, and the developer and founder of NutritionFacts.org. I encourage you to check out his website, one of the best resources for nutrition information that's evidence-based that you can apply to your life immediately, nutritionfacts.org. He's written a book with probably one of my favorite titles of all time, How Not to Die. And so, Dr. Greger, so glad to have you with us here on the show. Now, we've been digging in to some of these topics. I want to just ask a couple things. Now, heart disease is the leading killer in America currently, and I know you've written quite a bit or have a lot of articles at nutritionfacts.org about this, but let's talk a little bit about what someone can do if they've had a heart-related condition, their physician has them on medications. What can they do in their own lives based on what you've seen to really empower themselves from a lifestyle perspective?
Well, according to the Global Burden of Disease Study, which is the largest systematic study of risk factors done to date, funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, our diet, the standard American diet, is the number one cause of death, number one cause of disability. Here in the U.S., tobacco only kills about 500,000 Americans a year, whereas our diet kills hundreds of thousands more. Number one killer, both men and women, heart disease. And so what is it about our diet? Well, what's about it? I mean, the things that are increasing the level of cholesterol in our system, saturated fats found mostly in meat and dairy, trans fats found mostly in processed foods from these hydrogenated oils, and also dietary cholesterol, all three of which can increase our cholesterol levels, but there are some foods that can lower our cholesterol levels. These are fiber-containing foods. Fiber can actually hold on to cholesterol in the system and kind of flush it out. And so that's, again, these whole plant foods. And so a combination of less of the junk, more of these whole healthy plant foods can lower our cholesterol levels and not only lower our risk of getting our first heart attack, but in terms of secondary prevention, preventing our second heart attack, or preventing complications, the best thing we can do is go, jump in feet first to this whole food plant-based diet. There's some wonderful books out there. Dr. Esselstyn at the Cleveland Clinic has the Preventing and Reversing Heart Disease. Dr. Dean Ornish has written extensively about it, did some of the best research in this area. So these are the books that can show people how to not just stop their heart disease, but actually reverse heart disease, opening up arteries without drugs, without surgery. That's the power of plants.
It is the power of plants. And with your studies and research in that, would you say that in more of a lifestyle medicine-based approach, how important is exercise?
So exercise comes in so inactivity is kind of our fourth leading killer in terms of these risk factors. So exercise is critical not only for longevity but for increasing sleep, decreasing stress, improving our immunity. I mean, there's kind of long list of benefits to exercise, but it's critical to we can't kind of outrun our an unhealthy diet, basically. People think, it doesn't matter what I eat because I can burn off enough calories through exercise. But we're not just talking about obesity. The goal is to not fit into a skinnier casket. The goal is to eat in a way that can best support our health and longevity. And so exercise, absolutely important. Inactivity, even whether or not we exercise, just sitting for more than 6 hours a day can increase our mortality, even if we then go out to the gym after work. So inactivity, lack of exercise, critical for our health, but nothing can trump the power of what we put in our mouth.
Completely agree. So Grandma was right when she said we are what we eat.
We
right?
absolutely are what we eat, so we should eat healthy.
Right. What we put in our body definitely becomes our body. So a question for you. In your book, How Not to Die, by the way, we're talking with Dr. Michael Greger. He is the author of a great book you should pick up at bookstores everywhere, Amazon, anywhere you can find a book called How Not to Die, and an amazing book on health and nutrition and how to increase longevity. He has a website that's amazing called nutritionfacts.org. Check that out as well. My question for you, in your book, How Not to Die, what do you think is the starting point? If someone doesn't know where to start, I know it's greens, beans, and berries, beans, and berries, right? Yeah, you're three. But where do you start? I mean, if you've never eaten vegetables before, if it's never been a part of your lifestyle, where would you say start? Start here.
Yeah, so, I didn't want this just to be kind of a reference book, including kind of just the most compelling evidence on the role diet can play in our health. I really wanted to be a practical guide on kind of translating this mountain of evidence into day-to-day kind of grocery store decisions. And so that's really kind of the second half of the book, where I center my recommendations around a daily dozen checklist of all the things I encourage people to try to fit into their daily routine. So I talk about how much exercise I think people should be getting, or what the best available balance of evidence suggests, and go through, I think people should be eating a tablespoon of ground flax seeds every day, a quarter teaspoon of turmeric, the spiced turmeric every day, and go through what are the best berries, the best beans, the best greens, how to prepare them, how to make them taste good. And I think we all have these flashbacks of overcooked gray lumps on school cafeteria trays, but people don't realize you can actually make greens taste good. They just have to be prepared in the right way. So I think the first good step is to just start adding good foods to one's diet. Adding fresh fruits, for example, as snacks.
40 seconds, Doc. We've got 40 seconds to close out.
One great resource is 21daykickstart.org. There's a Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. It's a free program, starts at the first of every month, and give people the tools to make those healthy transitions in their diet.
That is it. Great information. Dr. Michael Greger, he is a physician. Check out nutritionfacts.org. He's written a book called How Not to Die. Make sure to check that out. One of the top, in my opinions, top experts as a physician in nutrition in the world. So glad to have you on the show, and I look forward to having you again. Dr. Michael Greger, check him out, nutritionfacts.org. Puts another hour in the charts. I want to thank you for listening.
Did you know you could listen to the ASA RX audio experience on Spotify and Pandora? For all the ways to watch and listen, check out our show page at asarx.com/audio. plantbased.com/experience.
Hi, it's Asa. I'm giving you a copy of my best-selling book for free to help you in your health journey today. I'll pay for the book. All you do is just cover the small shipping and handling costs. Go to asarx.com and get your free book today.
This episode is over, but check episode notes for links to products and services you've heard about on this episode. Thanks for listening and subscribing. Please share the ASA RX audio experience with others and stay in touch by giving us your comment or review.